As many of you are aware by now, state of Florida has passed silver and gold legal tender law. But is it really worth a damn? Yes, I said damn. I don't think so. I think this is the most cheesiest, outlandish law there is. The way this bill is written up, the final bill. How it got passed, I really don't know. I'll let you guys and girls make up your own minds on this one. Also, I'm going to take you back in time where I almost had to get a license to sell 90% silver at the flea market in Maine. I'm going to tell you how I won that one. So please, give me a like. Share this video out. Subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. June's going to be a big month for this channel, folks. We're going to talk very briefly about that. I've already done that twice in today's videos. If you're not yet watched the two first videos this morning and this afternoon, please go back and watch those two. Let's just get into the video right now. SB 132, it started out to be the bill. It ended up the final bill number 999 HB, House Bill. Governor Ron DeSantis signed it just the other day. How I'm reading this bill is only for legal tender coins. Not 3/9 silver bars, not 3/9 fine silver rounds, not any other foreign 999 silver and gold. The way I'm reading it is, it's just for American issued items. For an example, like your American Silver Eagles, like your gold American Eagles, and your gold Buffaloes. The law was supposed to take effect July 1st of 2025. The final bill reads July 1st of 2026. So we still got over a year before it's even recognized. Look, businesses don't have to take silver and gold. 90% silver is not in this bill at all, as recognizability to use it in trade. What does this bill really do? This law, do we really need this law? If someone wants to, for an example, somebody has a jet ski. I got a boat, which I don't, but let's assume I had a boat with a nice, decent motor on it, and I wanted to get rid of the boat. I'm shopping for a jet ski. Find a jet ski. The other person's interested in my boat. But I got a damn nice, good damn motor on the boat. Okay? Sets 4 people. It's a fishing boat. Can't go out too far, but it's a nice little fishing boat. I asked the person, I said, you want the boat? I'll take the jet ski, but I want $300 in face of 90% silver. There's no law that needs to be done with that. There is no law that needs to be done with that at all. If the other person is good with it, we sign the bill of sale, swap the bill of sale, shake hands, move on our happy ways, and it's done. It's a done deal. We don't even have to even mention that there is 90% silver involved. We could just call it a fair trade. Yeah, I have to register the jet ski, so I pay the registration fees. Whatever the state of Florida has, he's going to have to pay the registration fees and the taxes on the boat. And that's it. You know, and they're going to go off the book value, so that's how they do it now. There's no more going by off the paperwork for most states. Some states still let you do it that way. But most states do go by off the book value of the items that you're paying taxes on. So where does this law really come into play? It makes no sense. Businesses don't have to accept it, for one. And not saying they would have to force businesses to take it anyways, but when it even comes down to pay your taxes, they can only take it in electronic form. How is that going to work? How is that going to work? They're going to come up with some special silver and gold card that we're going to need for these coin shops? I don't know. I've not heard of anything like that as yet. I'm just thinking outside the box. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna come up with some special card, or was a silver and gold card gonna have a Visa, MasterCard logo on it. That very well could happen eventually. But you couldn't go pay if you live here in Florida, you couldn't go pay your car registration, plop down whatever your car registration is. Mine's around $40 a year. My grandmother's car is about $46 a year. I couldn't go take $46 of current melt value 90% silver, or take a Silver Eagle and pay the difference. They wouldn't take it. It has to be electronical. So what does this law really do? This is the most, in my opinion, it's the most dumbest law I've heard. It is really not going to do a gosh darn thing here in the state of Florida. It don't mention goldbacks at all in the legislation that I've seen in the final bill, but goldback seems like they're all over this bill. This is a good bill. This bill is a joke. In my opinion, this bill does absolutely nothing. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. But I'm still after. I don't care what they do. I'm still after my 90% silver. I'm after my 40% silver. I'm after my 35% war nickels. Because farmers do take this stuff. Even today. Farmers still take this stuff today. There are people, even in this state, will take it as payment. There does not need to be no law in place for this. This is in our Constitution. It's recognizable. If people know what the value is, they're going to take it. And when the crap hits the fan, people will learn very quickly what silver and gold is. People will learn trust me, people will learn very quickly. And guess what? You're not going to be able to find it. Once that happens, it's too late. We got to wake up people now, my friends. We got to wake people up now, before it's too late. And I'm sure I'll get some suppression off this video, but that's okay. But we have to wake up people now. And that's what I'm trying to do. Check out channel sponsor Pinbacks for your silver, gold, and platinum needs. Let them know that Coin Shop Chris sent you. Folks, we got a good month coming up here, June. I'm always giving away, and Pinbacks will be having some added stuff on July 4th to be a next giveaway. I'm adding over $3 in face of 90% silver. If you're not seen, I've not put out the video yet for the giveaway. I'm just waiting for a confirmation from Pinbacks. I know what they're going to do, but I just want double confirmation. Give them their time to cross the T's, dot their I's on their end. Because I just talked to Michael yesterday about this. We're on Stop the Melt of 90% Silver campaign. Put that in the comments, my friends. Stop the melt. Help me out with the next, from now until July 3rd, with this. That's all I'm asking for. Stop the melt. Support that. Put it on other channels if you want. I don't care. We gotta stop the 90% silver melt. But let's protect our history. Save it for yourselves. Save it for your kids, your grandkids. Maybe even your great-grandchildren, and for generations to come. Because the more of it we melt down now, it's just going to be less of it out there. And even if there was none melted down, think about it this way. Even if there was none melted down, and everybody started collecting 90% silver, stacking, there's not enough to go around. I've said that before in videos. There's more people in the States than there were years ago. So, where's it so much plenty of it? Yeah, you might see plenty of it online. Right now, you walk into most coin shops, like the shop I work for, yeah, you're going to see plenty of it. That is what you're going to see. But when it boils down to be the bottom line, there's not plenty to go around for everybody to have. I've done examples like that before. Take the silver quarter, just the everyday silver quarter, Washington silver quarter. If we could account for every single one, not one getting melted down, not one being lost, not one in Canada, not one overseas. If there was a big pile of Washington quarters on the White House lawn, let's say, if you divide them up evenly to all the people that live in the United States, you got less than 7 quarters per person. And I'm just using quarters for this example once again. That is a true statement. If you add up all the Washington quarters and go back to the last census, divide it by that many people, you're less than 7 quarters per person. I think it was like 6.9 to be exactly. So let's say 7. Now we gotta account for melting down. How much are melted down? We just don't know. How many were lost in the ground and still not been found again? How many are over in Canada? How many are overseas? Don't know. So let's just take half of it. You'd be lucky that you had 4 quarters per American in their hands. So think of it this way. If you got more than 4 silver quarters right now, you're doing better than everybody else that don't have any. And you can see I got a lot more than 4. That is a true statement. Get yourself a copy of the Red Book. They're about $15. I'm not going to put no special link. Amazon sells them. eBay sells them. Good sellers on both platforms sell them. Get a backdated one if you have to. If you're going to go to the Goodwill, the Salvation Army, maybe be lucky to find a backdated one. The mint numbers don't change. So you really don't need a brand new one, pay top dollar for it. If you see one at the flea market, yard sale, whatever, pick it up. You know, just pick it up. Go on eBay, see if you can get a backdated one. Maybe save yourself $4 or $5. It really just add up the Washington silver quarters and divide it by how many Americans that live in the United States according to the U.S. Census. There's your number. There's no saying any different because those numbers don't change. Let me tell you what happened when I was in Maine. I was in Maine. I was at the Riverside Flea Market. That is in Lisbon, Maine, on Route 196. Okay, this was going back probably 2007, 2008 time frame. And I was going to coin shows, buying or converting $9 into 90% silver and selling for a little bit of profit. I was doing okay. Not really doubling my money. But, you know, maybe I was getting like $1 for a dime, maybe $1.25 over for a silver quarter at the time, maybe a couple bucks over for a $0.50 at the time. So maybe I was getting like 30% of making 30% profit, and I was still under melt. So you can see what these coin dealers at the coin shows were really selling them for at the time. And there was a local coin shop in the area. And if you know the area of Lisbon, Maine, then you probably would know what coin shop I'm talking about. But I'm not going to bash that coin shop. Because the original owner, and I don't know if he's still around or not, he used to be down at the Riverside Flea Market years before me. Turned his business into a gold mine. Selling coins, selling jewelry, selling baseball cards, renting metal detectors, sports cards, sports pitchers signed from the New England teams, the Boston Red Sox, the Boston Celtics, the Patriots, the Boston Bruins, the local sports teams in the area as well. So I got no problems with the father. The son came down and said, "You need a license for this." And I says, and his name was, I'm not even going to say his name. I said to him, I said, you don't need a license in the state of Maine for 90% silver, because it's don't consider as bullion in the state. I said, if I was selling silver eagles or I was selling gold, I would need a second-hand dealer's license. He says, I'm going to report you. I don't like what you're doing. You're hurting my business. I says, let me tell you something. I says, your dad started here years ago. Your dad started the same way. Did he need a second-hand bullion dealer's license? He says, well, no, you didn't need one at the time. I said, well, you still don't need one now. I've already checked the law. I said, you need one because you're selling gold and you're selling eagles and you're selling foreign coins. So he reported me. So I didn't do anything with it. Okay? I had the Lisbon town, whatever you want to call them, you know, Congress or just whatever you want to call those people, the townships, people come and talk to me. And I show them the state law. And one of them was trying to, again, very argumentative with me. And I kind of put her in a place. I said, would you just be quiet and let me explain? I said, you're telling me I don't need a license for 925 jewelry. Is that what you're telling me? And they all said yes. I said, well, why would I need a license for 90% silver? Because that content is actually less than 925. The state law reads any content above 925 would require me to have a second-hand dealer's license. So that would exclude 90% silver. Now, wouldn't it? They all looked at each other. And they all went off to a little about 5 or 10 minute meeting. They came back. They all apologized for that. One woman really gave me a hard time. I said, well, I said to her, I said, I can see, I said, I'm glad I don't live in Lisbon, Maine. I said, but I can see you got the worst attitude of them all. Because you won't admit you were wrong. I said, shame on you. Folks, this is what I mean. You got to stand up. You got to know your local laws. If you are selling at a local coin show or you are selling at a flea market, know your local laws, because I can't help you there with your local laws. Every local law is different. But you got to know even your state law, and sometimes it can change to your local laws, the city or the town that you live in. Those laws can change within city limits. So please verify before you try that what your local area is like. Look, they never bothered me again. So I went up to that coin shop and I ripped him a new one. And I told him exactly what happened. He said, well, I heard what happened. He said, you think you're right. I said, no. I said, I don't think I'm right. I said, I know I'm right. I said, maybe, I said, nobody bothered you and your father for years. I said, I'm not hurting your business for selling 90% silver down at the flea market at all. I said, I just don't sell 90% silver. I said, I sell other odds and ends. I said, but I did know the law, my friend. I did know the law. Because if I wanted to sell silver eagles, silver rounds, perhaps gold, I said I would have gotten my second-hand dealer's license, but I didn't need one. And of course, he didn't apologize either. His father came out and he says, I want to talk to you outside. His father apologized. He says, I want to apologize for my son. My son was wrong, and I understand you're upset, and I want to apologize to you. He says, you're right. We were down there for 4 years. That's how we built this business, was being down at the Riverside Flea Market. You know, I always got along with that guy, the father himself. His son, not so much. You know, so I shook his hand. I said, I said, you don't need to apologize. I said, your son should be apologizing. But I said, but your son is over his head and don't want to apologize. I said, it's shameful on him. And he didn't know what quite to say. But I'm here to help you, my friends. You guys got questions. You girls got questions. Email me. I'm here to help you. How many other YouTubers are offering that? You know, I get back fairly quickly. I'm proud of that. One last thing. In the comment section. Stop the melt. Put that in the comment section, please. I need your support with this. Let's make this go viral. Let's really make that saying go viral. Because we're the ones who've started it. We're gonna be the ones who make this go viral, but I need your help. Stop the melt in the comments. Help me out with the thumbs up. Share the video out. Subscribe. Don't be get the Pinbax giveaway coming up along with me on July 4th. I'll have more details on that in the next couple days. Like I said, over 3 ounce, over $3 face of 90% silver I'm giving away out of my own stack. 2 1964 Kenny halves, 2 Franklin 90% silver halves, 2 Walking 90% silver halves, 1 Barber dime, 1 Standard Liberty quarter as well. Both of the dime and the quarter are readable dates. Everything has a readable date on it. You're not going to get no calls with me. Thank you for watching. Coin Shop Chris is out. Thank you for watching my good third video of the day as well. We will see you tomorrow.